Hey everybody, welcome back to Whiskey Central. If you're new here, my name is Shayla, and today I'm doing a review of the bottle that my patrons voted on, which is the BenRiach 10-year. If you want to see patron exclusive videos, live streams, and Patreon polls for what I review next, I have a link for my Patreon in the description box below. So as always, I've got a little bit of history for you today, but if you want to skip around to other parts of the video, there's timestamps in the description box below. And if you enjoy whiskey reviews, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new videos. BenRiach is Scots Gaelic for Speckled Hill. It was founded in 1898 by John Duff, who was the owner of the Longmore distillery. Sadly, due to the Pattison economic crash, he was forced to close the distillery a couple years later. BenRiach didn't produce whiskey from 1900 to 1965. They only stayed open because their floor maltings produced for Longmore. In 1965, they were bought by Glenlivet, then they were bought by Seagram's in 1978, and Pernod Ricard in 2001. Then they were owned by the BenRiach Distillery Company Limited. The malting floor was closed in 1999, but in 2012 they announced a revamp, and now at least some of the malt for BenRiach is made on site. Billy Walker came on board in 2004. He said that there were 38 years of stocks to work with, and he helped relaunch the brand and create new expressions. Walker stuck with the company until 2016, when along with GlenDronach and Glenglassaugh, BenRiach was bought by Brown-Forman. The whiskey is made with water from the Burnside Springs, and they produce about 3 million liters a year with 4 pear-shaped stills. Alright, so let's get into the details of this whiskey. This bottle will run you about $55, it's owned by Brown-Forman, and it's located in the Speyside region of Scotland. It's 10 years old, 43% ABV, and it's made from 100% malted barley. It's aged in ex-bourbon, ex-sherry, and virgin oak casks. They call it triple cask matured. It's non-colored and non-chill filtered. Alright, well, I'm going to pour a dram of this, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and I'll be right back. Alright, I've let this open up for about 10 minutes. Let's go in for a nose. So it's super floral. Like, just a lot of flowers. And kind of along with that, there's like a grassy note. More flowers than grassy, I would say. There's a lot of citrus. I would say like lemon, orange, grapefruit. Usually I just get one, but it's like, there's just a ton of citrus in there. A lot of fruit too. I don't know, I would say the main note is apple, but a very fruity nose. And then you get that vanilla from the bourbon cask. And also some raisins from the sherry cask. Then there's just maltiness. It kind of reminds me a little bit of an Irish whiskey. There's that like shortbread cookie note. Yeah, little malty, little bit of kind of like a nutty creaminess. I think this is the first time I've got this note, but it's oatmeal, like oatmeal with brown sugar on the top of it. Kind of smells like that. A little bit of baking spice in there too, so maybe like a cinnamon oatmeal. And then I get a little bit of like a fresh, maybe kind of more along the lines of that floral grassiness. There's like a tea note in there. Alright, let's go on the palate. Cheers, guys. So, it's sweet to start. There's a lot of apple. That citrus comes through. It's a little bit bitter, a little bit sour. There's some oak in there as well. And some baking spice. Let's go for another sip. So I'd say light to medium body. It's not super complex on the palate. The nose had a little bit more going on. A little bit bitter, drying. I'd say a medium finish. This is a pretty decent dram, so I'm going to finish it up and I'll be right back with my recommendation. I enjoy this whiskey. I think it's pretty interesting for a 10-year-old. The bitterness that's there might not be for everybody, but if you add just a little bit of water, that bitterness goes away. $55 is a little bit expensive for a 10-year-old, and I think the nosing experience is great, super interesting, but the palate is a little bit lackluster. It's a good dram, and I enjoy it, but I just don't think I would buy another bottle. If you like this bottle, I would recommend getting a Dalwhinnie 15, which is a little bit more expensive, but worth it. Or you could get a Glencairn 10 or 12-year-old. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Whiskey Central. Next week I'll be reviewing something that my patrons vote on. Haven't put out the poll yet, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what it might be. So my patrons will know soon what the next one's going to be. And you guys will find out next week. So if you don't want to miss out, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. If you enjoyed this review, leave it a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Okay. Holy shnikes, guys. Okay. Same shirt, because it's the same day. 2 videos in one day, because I have to make 7 videos in the next week and a half before I go on vacation. Yeah. Oh boy. That's just good. It's good. Yeah. And then that's the thing. It's good. And then that bitterness comes in, which I don't mind, but I kind of just wish it wasn't there. Toot that thing up, mommy, make it roll. Once you pop, lock it for me, girl, get low. If your mama gave it to your baby girl, let it show. Once you pop, lock, drop it for me, maybe we could roll. Oh!